Hello and welcome to today's episode of Filling the Gap, your one-stop shop for Pacers Gap Year coverage. I'm your host, Andrew Schreiner, and today we are breaking down the Pacers win, third win of the season over the Washington Wizards, and they cleaned up last night. Final score was 119-86. They held Washington to just 34 points in the second half, 13 in the fourth quarter. And I'm here with a kind of a quick episode today because the Pacers are on a back-to-back, so we'll be back tomorrow. Tonight they play the Bulls. But I'll just keep it short today, hit some of the highlights. Pascal Siakam was the leading scorer, but I thought the best effort, sort of the MVP, if you will, for the night, was TJ McConnell. He had 14 points and 8 assists. He was moving the ball really, really well. And several of those assists were outlet passes that we saw from the team a lot last year, especially from Tyrese Halliburton. But we hadn't seen as much this season. Some of that's the injuries, and they haven't been able to find that Pacers-y pace. But it was really good to see him pushing the ball up the floor. He had a great first half. I think he had 8 and 6 in the first half. Finished with 14 and 8. And just a great effort from him on the night. And that was big because the Pacers were playing without Andrew Nembhard. He was out with what is listed as a right quad contusion. He was questionable. He's questionable for tonight again, and so he might be back. We will see. I thought McConnell would get the start, but they went with Ben Shepherd instead, preferring to keep McConnell and his impact off the bench. Which in hindsight, I think was a really good decision. McConnell did play key minutes, and the game really hinged. Early on, it was kind of a battle, and the game hinged at the end of the second quarter. The Pacers, they were tied 48-48, and the Pacers finished the second quarter in the last 4 or 5 minutes with a 16-4 run that allowed them to take a 12-point lead into halftime. They extended that in the third quarter with some pretty solid play, and then by the time the game was over in the fourth quarter, the Wizards really just folded. As I mentioned, only scored 13 points. That was big because it did allow the Pacers to rest players. Mathurin had the most minutes at 34. No one else was over 30 last night, and so with the second game of a back-to-back coming up tonight against Chicago, the team should be decently well rested. This was a big win. Every win is a big win when you only have 2, now 3. But this was a battle for last place in the NBA. The loser of last night's game would have the worst record in the NBA. And as I've been saying the last month, I feel like this team is better than their record is showing. And this was an opportunity for them to prove that they were playing who's probably the worst team in the NBA and now is by record. The Pacers were actually by record at home not on a back-to-back, right? They had a day off before that they needed to go out as they're starting to get healthy, go out and take care of business. And they did that. They put up a dominant performance over this weak Wizards team, and that was good to see, to put it simply, that they showed that they are a real, legitimate NBA team that can compete with teams. And I think they've shown that they can compete with good teams the last few nights, but they keep getting losses. Then now you get a win, and now you can set that up for maybe 2 in a row. We'll go ahead and just take a minute here to look forward. They're playing the Bulls tonight. The Bulls are 9-9, but they started 5-0. They have been struggling as of late. They're 3-7 in their last 10. And I think this is an opportunity for the Pacers to legitimize themselves a little further, to get a win tonight. On the holiday weekend, hopefully a good crowd in attendance against a Central Division opponent who you'll see 3 more times this season. They're led by Josh Giddey, who's nearly averaging a double-double, 20.8 points and 9.4 assists after his long contract drama this off season. He's back with the Bulls and playing pretty well. But if you can contain him, I just don't think this Bulls team is overly dangerous, and especially at home. I think the Pacers have the opportunity to take care of business tonight and get a second win in a row. For the first time, this would be our first winning streak of the season if they could get it done tonight. So that would be good to see. Come again on a second night of a back-to-back, but the starters and key bench players got a lot of rest in that fourth quarter. One last thing, the NBA Cup group stage ended last night. So the Pacers ended up 1-3 in their group, and that actually is not the worst thing in the world because you get 2 more games based on the NBA Cup standings. And so, though they didn't advance to the knockout stages, as I think anyone would have assumed given their record, they get 2 games in December. Now, because they performed poorly, they are against weaker opponents. So they actually get to see Washington again, which is huge. And then they'll be playing the Philadelphia 76ers as well. And I believe that's the 12th and the 14th of December. So those are 2 winnable games that you've now added to the schedule. Again, that the team can string along some wins, hopefully. So I will be back with the breakdown of tonight's matchup against the Bulls. Thank you for watching, as always. Please like this video. Please share with your Pacer fan friends. Please subscribe. Turn on notifications if you haven't already. And this time, let me know in the comments whether you are rooting for a tanking scenario, you want to see them lose as many games as possible, or whether you still want them to win and try and be competitive this season. See you next time.